Good morning. I call this meeting to order. Shannon has done the roll call, and as people walk in, we will put more people on the roster of who's here. The first item on the agenda is to welcome new Cable Commission members, and we have 3 today. I'd like to just have you talk about yourself as little or as much as you want. Jan Schultz, Dave Callister, and Tim Sandvik. So let's start with the way it is on the list here. Jan Schultz representing, Jan Schulz, no T, representing Brooklyn Park.
Jan Schultz, I've been a longtime resident of Brooklyn Park, at least 50 years. I'm a retired educator. And I'm just here to support my community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome. And then Dave Callister representing Plymouth.
Good morning, everyone. Dave Callister, City Manager. I've been in City Manager for 14 years in Plymouth, and I guess I'm back on the board because I was here, I think, about 22 years ago when I was in Osseo, and so I can't say I'm going to rely on that experience because I probably can't remember everything from 22 years ago, but happy to be here. Thank
you, Dave. And Tim Sandvik of Robbinsdale.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everyone. I had priorly served on the CCX board, so we had a little bit of shake-up in Robbinsdale with our council, so we moved a few folks around. I've been a city manager in Robbinsdale for just about 4 years, so excited to continue serving.
4 years isn't very much, but you're the most senior member of the 4 cities that surround Robbinsdale.
How about that?
So, thank you for agreeing to serve on this, each and every one of you. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the actual agenda. Is there a motion to approve what the agenda is, or is there some kind of an indication you want it to be altered?
So,
second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say no or nay. That item carries. After that, number 3, consent items. Approval of the minutes from the November 20th meeting and the treasurer's report. Does anybody want to either make a motion or withdraw for separate discussion, either of those 2 items? Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Is there a second? Thank you. Discussion? All those, it's a consent agenda, no discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say no or nay. That motion carries. Next item, action item, number 4, part 1, designation of depositories of public funds and investments.
Yes, Mr. Chair, this is a housekeeping item that we pass at the first meeting of the year, and this is designating Wells Fargo as the depository for the Northwest Suburbs Cable Communication Commission, and the designation for investment depositories is LPL Financial. The 2 signers on the account are myself and Adam Bell, our treasurer. So with that said, I would recommend to designate Wells Fargo and LPL as our depositories.
That's on page 23 of our materials. Does anybody have any discussion or a motion to approve Wells Fargo as the depository?
So moved to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say no or nay. The motion carries. Appointment of the Northwest Suburbs Cable Communications Commission Vice Chair.
Mr. Chair and Commission, we have a vacancy in the role of Vice Chair after Commissioner Jim Willis stepped away from Commission service at the end of the year. I did send out an email asking for volunteers, and we did have someone willing to step into the role of Vice Chair, and that is Dr. Mark Schultz, who serves as the president of the CCX Media Board of Directors and also represents Osseo on the commission. If he is appointed, we can also take nominations from the floor, but that would create another vacancy on the executive committee in the at-large position.
Discussion. We do need a vice chair, and Mr. Willis of Plymouth was on this commission for a long time. And even when it indicated his time served, he had served prior to that for many years. I remember he was a chair of the negotiating committee a long time ago, but Plymouth has not appointed someone else, so is there a motion or an alternate motion to appoint a vice chair? We have Mr. Scholes, again without a T, as the person that is recommended to be the vice chair.
I'd like to move to appoint Dr.
Thank you.
to the position of vice chair on the commission.
Anybody else?
Second.
Second, okay. Discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no or nay. I voted aye. That motion carries. Information items. Broadband franchising update. Now, I guess I should ask Shannon. We appointed a vice chair. We now left the position of Mark's former position open. And is this the appropriate time, or would later in the meeting, or should we be looking for a different meeting to be appointing an at-large member to fill what Dr. Scholes had?
I think we can do that at this meeting. And we did have a volunteer willing to step forward and fill the at-large position. Dave Callister came in and said he would be willing to serve in that capacity. We can also take volunteers from the floor.
Would this be the time to do it, or somewhere else on the agenda?
This is the time.
All right, I'm glad I stopped. Thank you, Dave, for volunteering. Plymouth is not represented anymore because Jim Willis left on the executive committee. So, anybody else want to be the at-large member of the executive committee? I will nominate Dave Callister to be the at-large member of the executive committee. Is there a second to that? There's a second and a third. Discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say no or nay. That motion carries. Okay, thank you very much. So back to where I thought I was before. Information items, broadband franchising update.
Yes, I will start that. I wanted to give just a brief broadband franchising update. Our attorney, Mike Bradley, and I have been visiting several cities to have meetings and work sessions, city council meetings, or sometimes this is just a virtual meeting held with city staff, just to talk about whether or not they want to pursue broadband franchising. We have had 3 cities indicate that they do wish to move forward. Plymouth, Osseo, and just on Monday night, Brooklyn Park indicated that they would like to move forward with franchising broadband. So what this means is when a broadband company comes to one of those cities and attempts to pull a permit, the city will refer them to the commission to work on obtaining a franchise for a cable communication system. At that point, our attorney Mike Bradley and I will kind of take it from there and meet with the company, talk with the city, and try to meet all of the terms. So currently, we're working with 3 cities. I know there's discussions happening in other cities, and we welcome those. We're here to answer your questions and meet whenever you need. Mr. Bradley, is there anything you would like to add?
No, that's a great summary. We have been working with other cities in this area, obviously, but then also there's other areas that have commissions similar to this one, and they are also moving forward with franchising as well. So it's definitely picking up steam around the metro area, and and if any of your member cities have any questions, we're happy to work with you on that. It's an exciting development. For those of you who are new, this is an opportunity to negotiate franchise agreements with broadband companies rather than just a cable television company. And so a franchise is a special contract between a provider that wants to provide a service to residents using the public right-of-way. And we've seen a real explosion of activity for broadband companies coming into almost all of the member cities areas now, wanting to provide like fiber to the home types of services and offering broadband services to residents, which is an exciting development. What franchising brings is an opportunity to make sure that all of your residents are getting served with broadband, so there aren't just pockets of places getting served. It gives you an opportunity to make sure that everybody receives the same quality of service, of broadband internet service. It gives you the opportunity to have real customer service provisions. This commission has been in charge of handling complaints or requests from the residents of all of your member cities related to cable television for many years. And by many years, I mean over 40 years. And so this commission is kind of the expert agency, if you will, for addressing consumer complaints. We also address, how quickly complaints need to be resolved, how quickly service needs to be provided when somebody asks for it. We have provisions for having annual meetings with the provider to make sure that, all of the build-out requirements and quality of service requirements, customer service requirements are being met. And if they aren't, there's a process that allows for the commission to take kind of an enforcement action, which is good. So anyway, there's a lot of benefits to franchising, these broadband companies. And, when you think about it, if you have an issue with a new broadband company and you can't get it resolved through the 800 number, where do you go? I mean, literally, where do you go? Do you go to the PUC? No, the PUC doesn't regulate it. Okay. There's literally no place to go. So people will call a city sometimes, but unless you have a franchise and you have that connection, direct connection with the provider, that's how you get things resolved. And we've been very, very successful in the cable television context, resolving complaints. And I can give you stories about, people even trying to deal with the phone company, the old CenturyLink phone system, and it's been difficult. And again, where do you go? There is a place to go, but good luck getting relief. Local government is, and this commission is a local governmental entity. We're the closest to our residents, and we know how to address issues for our residents. So you should all consider broadband franchising. Sorry for going on so long.
That's okay. And it was informative. Another important thing is that we 9 cities are part of a joint powers agreement, and we have larger cities or smaller cities alike. With this franchising, we have an opportunity to have an expert staff with Shannon and her people and Mike and his people, and it costs not as much as it would cost if we were individual cities, because all of the expertise and all of the work of doing the franchising, save and except whatever your staff has to do to kind of support what's going on through the commission, all of the work and all of the expense comes through this commission, and they have expertise. So watch what the leading cities are doing, and watch how the process goes for them, and talk to them and see if your city wants to hop on board and save some time and expense and create uniformity throughout the 350,000 people, 9-city area here. So thank you for that. Anybody else have comments, questions about the franchising? Yes, go ahead, Jan.
Excuse me, you mentioned Brooklyn Park. Did you say that Brooklyn Park was on board, or they're considering it?
Yes, they decided on Monday night.
Okay.
So we have been busy working since then.
Okay.
On making all those pieces fit in place.
Thank you.
So I think that's kind of cool that 2 of the larger cities are doing this right now. So it'll inform the rest of us. Anybody else? Okay, the next item on the agenda is legal and legislation update by Mr. Bradley of Bradley Warner.
Well, good morning again, and just what you wanted to hear, more legal stuff. I'll just give you maybe 3 updates. One, we submitted comments and reply comments to the FCC on the FCC's wireline notice of inquiry proceeding. That was a proceeding where the FCC was indicating a willingness or desire to preempt local government relating to broadband. And so we felt it was important to have a Minnesota coalition to specifically address why the FCC doesn't have any authority over broadband. And so we put together comments and reply comments and responded to specific issues that were raised about Minnesota cities. Our comments that we filed on behalf of the commission, but it was part of a larger coalition, and that coalition included the League of Minnesota Cities. And I think we felt good about that. I think there's a small summary in your legal report that's in your packet, but then there's also links there so you can see the full comments if you wish. There's a new case that came out at the very end of January called Disney Platforms versus City of Santa Barbara. That's also in, it's not in your packet actually, but it was in the legal report that was sent out, I think after your packets were sent out, which was my fault that it was late. That's a really interesting case because it upheld a local tax on streaming services. We don't necessarily have that ability to have that local tax unless the legislature were to act specifically for every single city. But what was interesting about it was that it held that video programming included video streaming, and that's one of the issues that we see with cable operators right now, is that they're providing video programming through what I would call their kind of traditional cable service, but they're also doing it through streaming services. So if you call up Comcast today, you're likely to be encouraged to move to their streaming platform called Xumo. And when you do that, Comcast will continue to receive revenue, but they won't pay any franchise fees on it. So I think this Disney Platform versus City of Santa Barbara case may be at least persuasive as we move forward on those lines. And I think Shannon will be talking about the franchise fee review that we've just started, so I'll leave that to her.
So when they stream, rather than go through the cable, do they still use the city's rights-of-way?
They use the exact same system. Exact same system. And the exact same programming.
Right.
How about that? But yet, the argument that they make, and they refuse to budge without a court order, is that that is not cable service and is not subject to gross revenue calculations and franchise fee calculations.
In determining whether or not it is a cable service, you just look at the applicable laws and the definitions, and you feel that our argument is good legally, that yes, if you look at the laws, it is a cable service.
Yeah, in this case, kind of agreed with us. But yeah, I mean, when you look at the definition of cable service, which is a definition in federal law, it means video programming or other programming. When you look at what video programming means, it means programming like broadcast programming. Okay, it doesn't say anything about channels. It doesn't say anything about how it's delivered. It doesn't say anything about digital or analog or anything like it. It's totally agnostic when it comes to the technology used. It's video programming like broadcast programming. So the example I always use, especially when we're talking about Comcast, is we just watched the Olympics. Okay, so I like curling. I was watching the curling on the Olympics. How was I watching it? I was watching it on NBC. Right? NBC is a broadcaster, is broadcast programming. Then I also watched it on what other platform?
Peacock.
Peacock. Peacock is a streaming service being provided over the Comcast system to residents. It's the exact same programming. Some cases, it's literally the exact same programming. Is it video programming or not? Is it a cable service or not? That'll be a decision for somebody to make sometime soon.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on that, comments? Okay, hearing none. Is that the end of legal and legislation update?
Yeah, I think that's good. You can look at the reports if you're really dying to have more legal information.
Most of us are. All right. Number 3, MACTA legislative efforts. Tell us what MACTA means and what it is first.
MACTA is the Minnesota Association of Community Telecommunications Administrators. Simply put, it's the organization that where all the PEG stations come together and we advocate for community television. I am the co-chair of the MACTA legislative team, and Mr. Dave Kaiser sits on the committee as well, so I decided to let him give an update on what we're working on for this legislative session. Dave?
Thank you, Shannon. Hiding out over here a couple points, and if you look at attachment number 7 in your agenda, there's some basic information there that you can take back with you. You'll also find information sheet from CCX Media that talks about funding and policy needed to help community media. So if you need something to pass on to other people in your city hall or within your city, this is certainly a great tool to do that. Just a couple quick points, and you see this in the information as well. MACTA, on behalf of the commissions and the community media systems that are members, has secured the services of Goff Public once again. So they have been our partner in helping on some of the lobbying assistance and also monitoring the industry. And we do hear that there's some industry things that are happening this year, so certainly something to keep an eye on. 2 main areas of concentration that MACTA is working on behalf of the systems. What you've already heard a little bit about is broadband franchising. The lead is the League of Minnesota Cities. So we're working closely with them on continuation of efforts that have been happening over the past couple years. Shannon and I are already planning our first visit to the Capitol early next week, again, to talk to people about what has been happening and what we would like to see happening. Many meetings, as you hear, happening in local cities as well. So cities are talking about this on their own level, and we certainly would like to see it on the state level as well. Second main concentration is with the Minnesota State High School League related to our coverage of high school games. Over the past couple of years, their policies have changed, and others have come into the venue of these sporting event streamers, and they are now blocking us out on occasion to coverage of some of our local high school games. So we cover them throughout the year. We can't cover them in the playoffs, or for some cases, if we try to go and cover a away game, some of those sites have streaming agreements, and they will not allow us to go into that venue to record the game or play it back. And the problem is all of those streamers are behind paywalls, and it costs people money to watch those games then, where we for 40 years have done it for free. So we're asking the legislature to amend some existing statutes with some very simple wording that will help us not be blocked from the coverage. We also have a couple other points that we're looking at. Eliminating some fees for delayed coverage, which there have never been for about 30 years, and now there are fees that will be placed on top of us coming to the game to do delayed coverage. And also they restrict when we can post it and play it back. So things have changed over the past couple of years. We worked very closely with the high school league on these issues, but unfortunately it's come to a point where we might need a little bit more influence to be able to change some of these back. MACTA Day at the Capitol, if you're interested in helping us on some of these issues, that is Wednesday, March 18th. It is from mid-morning to mid-afternoon. We start gathering at the League of Minnesota Cities, hopefully having some legislators as guests to that meeting, then walk to the Capitol, meet with legislators individually, and again, all are invited. So if you need more information on that, certainly see me, Shannon. We're happy to help out with that. Happy to answer any questions if there are any.
And I would add one thing. If you follow hockey, last night was a big game. It was Wayzata versus Edina, and we were blocked from covering that by a streamer, even though our product would have been far superior.
Yeah, like, what do they do compared to what we do?
One camera at center ice and maybe somebody talking, announcer.
Okay, anybody, any more comments or questions with regard to that item? Then we come to other. Staff, do you have any other?
I do not have any other.
Members, do you have any questions with regard to other? I should just mention too, I think it's Minnesota Statute 118.09 that was recently amended in order to allow cities to invest the way the Minnesota State Board of Investment does with regard to 15% of certain reserves, which isn't really 20% or 15% of a city's liquid assets or assets. It's just something that you can do. And we've been trying to look at having that apply to the Northwest Suburbs Cable Communications Commission so that we could do that. Representative Freiberg, Senator Rest, and remind me who's the Plymouth senator, the attorney,
Bonnie Westland.
Bonnie Westland. She carried the bill to allow certain cities, A and AA cities, as far as their credit rating. And we're looking at getting us to be able to do that. It would allow us, with our significant assets dwindling as they might be, to be able to invest the way the Minnesota State Board of Investment does and have more income and support staff and the programs here that way. So that's something that'll take a couple of years probably, but it's something on the horizon that you should be aware of. Anybody have anything else? Go ahead,
Could you
Jan.
repeat that statute number? I didn't.
I think it's
catch it.
Minnesota Statute 118A.09. I don't think it's 119. I think it's 118A.09. And there's a certain section in there, subdivision, probably 5 and 1, that talk about that.
Thank you.
Yes. Anybody else? Anything else? Is there a motion to adjourn? We've got a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say no or nay. And that carries, and we are adjourned.
All righty, we'll just slide right into the CCX Media Board of Directors meeting this morning here. Roll call. Shannon, do you want to introduce our new directors?
I will. We have 2 new directors, and I'll follow the path of the commission if that's okay, and let you say just a little bit about yourself. Starting with Tim Pratt, representing Brooklyn Park, and then Rachel Lean, representing Robbinsdale, and you sat right next to each other. So welcome.
Didn't know that. I guess I'm first on the list. I'm used to going alphabetical, which would make Rachel first. Tim Pratt. I am the interim communications manager for the city of Brooklyn Park. As you may have known, Risica left after Thanksgiving, so I'm filling in that until we fill that position. We're actually creating a new position of communications director. She was communications manager, so new job description, all that kind of stuff. So you may be seeing me for a while.
That's good.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel Lean. I'm the communications coordinator for the city of Robbinsdale. I've been with the city of Robbinsdale for about coming up on 2 years now. I work with CCX Media very frequently in my role at the city, and it's always a great experience and a great final product. So excited to continue that partnership by serving on the board now. So excited to be here.
Thank you.
Well, welcome. Thank you. Moving right along here, looking for approval of today's agenda, please.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
just a question. On item 3 under the consent agenda, does your appointment to vice chair of the commission create an opening on the executive committee with your position?
Why don't we take that up under the consent agenda items?
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay. Just to kind of keep it on
Sure.
track here,
Yeah.
okay? So motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Okay. This, our rules don't require a second, so any other conversation about that? All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great. Okay, now Eric, let's bring your stuff up here about consent agenda items. We can pull, where would that be? You're talking about?
Number 3.
Number 3? Under action items? Where are you talking about here?
So the consent items, number 3 was approval of,
Roman numeral
I'm sorry.
Support too.
Apologies. I'm looking at the wrong place. I just wanted to ask if the agenda needed to be modified because your appointment as vice chair of the commission, does that create a vacancy in the position you currently hold on the media board?
No.
I don't believe it does, no.
No.
Okay.
All right, so can I get approval of the consent agenda items, please? Okay, we have a motion. Any additional conversation? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Great. Moving on to action items here. Item number 1, resolution accepting donations.
Mr. President and CCX Media Board, we love to tell you about the donations that we receive, and we have a hefty bunch on the screen in front of you. Thanks to the end of the year and Give to the Max Day, we received $2,400 in donations, and that's $795 over what it was this time last year. So I'd like to go through and read this list. It's a great list. We have a senator on here, we have former city manager, we have city staff, we have volunteers, we have average community members. So I think that's a great cross-section, represents what we do. We had 8 people donate in the anonymous category for $845, Mary Falczek for $100, Ann Rest for $100, Billy D. Wyatt, MD, $25, Bob Woods, board member, thank you, Mr. Woods, $100, Cecilia Dobrin, $500, Jason Smalley, $10, Jennifer Floria, $25, Jonathan White, $25, Catherine Spitzka, $20, Linda Valentine, $75, Lisa Lambert, $25, Marcia Glick, $100, Robin Connie Stout, $100, Fatima Hajitaki, $20, Alicia Cameron, $30, John Sutter and Alexander Revy, $250, and Ann Mitchell, $50. So we did send out thank yous to all of these donors. We definitely appreciate the donations. And with that, Mr. President, I recommend approval of Resolution 2026-01, a resolution accepting donations to CCX Media.
Okay, accepting a motion to accept the donations.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion. Any additional conversation? Other than just saying thank you and reiterating that to these donors. It's money out of their hard-earned money out of their pocket, so we appreciate it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Perfect. All right, appointment of CCX Media Treasurer. Shannon?
Yes, Mr. President and Board, we have a vacancy in the CCX Media Board of Directors Executive Committee in the Office of Treasurer. This position was vacated when Tim Sandvik moved from the board to the commission. We did send an email out to members asking for volunteers, and we did have a volunteer, Mike Ostaffi, who is from Maple Grove, but he has an at-large position on the board of directors, has volunteered to step up into the role of treasurer. We can also take nominations from the floor.
Is there any nominations? Hearing none, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to appoint Mike Ostaffi as CCX Media Treasurer. Any additional conversation after that motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great. Welcome aboard, Mike.
Thank you.
Okay, time for that annual designation depositories of public funds and investments.
Yes, Mr. President and Board, this is very similar to what we just approved in the commission meeting. This is a housekeeping item that we check off at the beginning of each year, designating Wells Fargo as our depository for CCX Media and LPL Financial for our investments. The 2 signers on the count are myself and now Mr. Ostaffi as our treasurer.
All righty, looking for a motion to affirm the designation.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion. Any conversation? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? Great. Next agenda item, approval of create rules update. Shannon, take it away.
Yes, if you remember at the November meeting, the board approved updates to the CREATE rules with 2 caveats. They pulled 2 things out and asked that this be referred to the CREATE Action Committee for further review. And that included adding a sentence indicating that scholarships were available in the rules document, and then developing a separate board-approved fee schedule outlining training and membership costs. I recognize this is something that many of you guys do at the city level, and it truthfully is a good tradition for us to be in as well. So the 4 pages of the rule of revisions are attached. I just put the first 4 pages of the document, but we do have the full document available online. The change is midway on page 38, and it is just adding 1 sentence in there, scholarships available upon request. Behind that document in your packet, you will also see the fee schedule. So this is something that we have had, in our building, but we haven't brought it before you in the until now, so it's probably a good practice to do. So a few things in that fee schedule. So we have the membership fees, which is what was before you in November. Nothing has changed on that. On that note, we have a section of other, which includes several miscellaneous items that we sell to CREATE members and the general public. And then we have our fee sheets for our video production services, our studio facilities rental, and our production truck rental. The last time we really went in depth with these fees and compared them to what other outlets were offering was in late 2023 for those starting in 2024. So I do anticipate this summer us kind of going in depth with these fees again, making sure they match industry standards, and then having a new set of fees in front of you at the November meeting to begin at 2027. So with those notes, I do recommend approval of any rules changes and the 2026 fee schedule.
Alrighty, since these are 2 different agenda items, let's go ahead and tackle approval of CREATE rules update. Thank you for getting on top of that. There was a bit of a discussion, if I recall, at the last meeting surrounding this, and so I appreciate this solution that was put forth based on the opinion of all the directors at the meeting. So could I get a motion to approve the CREATE rules update, please?
So moved.
All right, do we have a motion? Any additional dialogue or conversation?
Yes.
Eric.
I also would like to express my thanks to the board and also to staff and Shannon and the CREATE Action Committee for looking into this. Thank you.
All right, anything else? All right, all in favor of approving the CREATE rules update? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great, unanimous. Next one here, approval of 2026 fee schedule. Shannon gave the presentation already, so I'm looking for a motion to approve the recommended fee schedule.
Motion to approve the recommended fee schedule.
Okay, any additional dialogue? Hearing none, can get a, go ahead. All in favor of the 2026 fee schedule being adopted, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great. Presentation and approval of annual report.
All right. Board and Mr. President, I'm very pleased to present the 2025 Annual Impact Report. So you had one in your packet, but you have a shiny copy on your chair when you came in. I'm really proud to present this impact report. I think it shares a lot of the good things that we do. We did change a little bit about what we report because we use this primarily as a marketing tool. So when we go to meet with legislators, when we go to meet with sponsors, when we go to meet with stakeholders in the community, we trot this out. So we tried to craft this in a way that would kind of appeal to the average person and tell our story. On the first 2 pages, you'll see we share our mission and our vision and also our tagline that we believe a connected community is the best community. As you very well know, 2025 was a year of recalibrating, tightening our belt, but it was also a year that we were very introspective to stay true with what we're doing moving forward to who we are. And we believe that's very important, and that belief that strong local media helps build strong local communities. We used the core values that we identified in the strategic planning process as a guide for this document. So we'll start with hyper-local media, something that our stakeholders were very proud of. We provide city news and sports coverage capturing the unique stories and spirit of the Northwest suburbs that mainstream media often overlooks. We do try so very hard to be unbiased in our coverage, and it is rewarding when our readers and viewers notice that as well. So there's a great quote that's included in there. We also put time and effort not just into crafting stories, but distributing it to where people are watching. So you will see a list on the side divided by platform of some of our top local news and sports stories. On the next pages, the next 2 pages, skilled professionals and trusting relationships. Our stakeholders identify that they are very proud that we've been delivering trusted local content for over 40 years with professional, reliable coverage. You'll see a side profile there of Jay Wilcox broadcasting in the Turkey Trot tournament in the Plymouth Ice Center. He's one of 3 employees in our building who've been with us for more than 35 years. So there is a lot of depth and insight in our sports department and in our building across all departments. We also honored our 2 recent Emmy Award winners. Chaz Moots is featured as winning the Multimedia Journalist category, and Isaac Rice won for his directing as well. On trusting relationships, we build these long-lasting relationships with our public officials, city staff, schools, and community members, and we believe that gives us consistency, it gives us presence, it gives us follow-through. And I think this is what gives us that perspective with stories, and it helps us tell those stories with depth and insight. I've said the phrase around here several times, we cannot scorch the earth that we are going to walk on tomorrow. So we have to have good relationships with our cities and our stakeholders, because we're going to be back there talking to them tomorrow. It doesn't mean we don't tell the hard stories, but we just do our due diligence and we go the extra mile to make sure all voices are heard and it's put into perspective. On the next pages, this is something that we hear more and more often at the state legislature and in the community, that public transparency is very important. We promote civic engagement and understanding through transparency and unbiased information. We're responsible for recording meetings for you. As you know, we recorded 434 meetings in 2025. This year, Brooklyn Park took top honors for the most meetings, but this is something that rotates, and I looked for a little perspective. Osseo won that crown in 2024. Brooklyn Park won by 1 meeting in 2023, and Maple Grove won in 2022. So good luck seeing who has the most meetings that we cover this year. As far as city meetings, we do work directly with cities for which meetings you want covered. So every city has a different formula, and we try to meet those needs. We also work with your cities to tell stories that you want to get out through video. And we know traditionally we've put all of those stories on CCX Media's platforms, but we are fielding more and more requests for internal videos. Maybe you're submitting for an award and you need a video to accompany that. So we're really just trying to meet the needs of the city communication department with that category. The next page is one that if you have questions on during this process, I'm happy to answer, because I know when we talk about the distribution numbers, that's something that people are really interested in, and our platforms are robust, and it's something that we have cultivated over time. Our website numbers have stayed consistent with 1.3 million unique visitors. That was the same as it was in 2024. Our email marketing system is Constant Contact. We send emails out daily. We have 25 different subscriber lists. So if you want to see just the news in Crystal, you can see that. If you want to see just the news where we cover the Robbinsdale School District, we curate that list as well. So those go out over the course of the week. I did a little bit of research on what is a good open rate, what's a good click rate. Our sends stayed consistent. A good open rate is considered to be good if it's around 25%. That's very healthy. Average is 15. We're at 39%. So anything above 30 is considered extremely engaged. So we like that. We are delivering stories to the people who are interested in reading them, which is really important. A click rate, 1 to 2% is considered typical. 3 to 5% is considered strong. So if you look, we're at 4.9%. That is extremely robust. So we are proud of our email subscriber system. If you look at our social media platforms, what does well on different platforms really depends on how users are using the different platforms. For example, on Facebook, which we know is changing, 70% of adults out there have Facebook. We know that less than half of them tap into that every day. People are not checking their Facebook or tapping in or posting as much as they should. Our news stories tend to do better than our sports stories on Facebook, because Instagram and X, formerly known as Twitter, that's where our sports stories do the best. Those platforms are built for quick content, highlight clips, score updates, and sports stories. Sports still has a home on X. It's something that we've discussed internally. Do we want to keep investing in all of these categories? And it makes a ton of sense to keep being on X when it comes to sports stories. Reels on Instagram, those short stories that go out, those do well. Those do well on Instagram. So this is something that we continue to monitor. I will tell you, our followers did go up in every category on Facebook, and our followers in most categories. I won't go through every single one. So I thought that's pretty good. We continue to grow steadily. YouTube, we are not growing. We had 4.3 million total million views last year. In 2024, this year it fell to 3 million, so that is dipping a little bit. Why is that? There's a few different reasons. First, we are producing less content than we used to, so that is going to impact somewhat. We know people are watching less local news online than they did at the height of the pandemic. We really just had really crazy high numbers during the pandemic and coming off of that. And then there's more streaming services out there. So, sports is a big driver of our YouTube channel. It always has been. So we know there's more people places where people are seeing that content, particularly if they're subscribing to a service. So those are 3 reasons why we believe our YouTube numbers aren't as robust as they have been, but it's something that we will continue to work on. And Mr. President, if it's okay, I'll pause for questions, because I feel like if people have questions in the annual report, it's probably going to be on this page.
Sure. Any questions? Mr. Margolis?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for this wonderful report. I like the new compact version, and thanks to the staff for working so diligently to pull all the numbers.
Sure.
And I just want to throw in comment versus
Sorry,
questions.
I apologize. Go ahead.
Were you done?
I wasn't done.
Okay,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Apologies. I do want to ask about the advocacy page in reference to something that was presented as well on the commission side with the great presentation that was provided by Mr. Kaiser regarding the funding and policy needed to save community media. So as a representative of CCX, Create on the board, I take Create as my priority. I will always advocate for it. And I just want to highlight that it feels like a miss on my part to not include in the narrative with state legislators and the public more emphasis on the community-created content. And I noticed that in the advocacy, we tell a really great story about what news does and the city does and transparency, but really no mention of the community, the town square. And in the entire one-pager, there's one line that just says that we provide a free studio. So I took this opportunity, because it is relevant, right, to the advocacy page, to tie this item together. And I would just like, again, as we move forward, I really believe that we are hindering our ability to be successful in our advocacy with the state legislature and others, with continuing to de-emphasize the significance of having a town square, specifically in a time where just about everyone realizes that there seems to be some kind of movement towards independent journalism and free press. You don't have to cast a stone very far, and you're going to have heard or been adjacent to some information about that. We have invested a lot of time and energy in our Create 2030 vision. I'm looking forward to hearing that update. Center point of that over the next 5 years is building out the Create side. So, thank you for hearing my comments. I would, if I could, ask that perhaps maybe more could be added to this, but I understand that's outside of my purview since I'm not on that body. So, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. So I just wanted to kind of reiterate on everything that we went through last year, and I just want to really thank staff and all the stakeholders, executive committees, and all the directors and everybody for participating in what were very difficult conversations. It's really easy to be a part of an organization when everything is going great, okay? And your funding is not something you have to question, and you don't have to deal with staff reductions, things like that. But I'm just extremely proud of the way we came through it, and I think that we'll come out of this stronger with a greater sense of purpose than I think we've ever had before. So I just really want to give just a huge shout out to Shannon, because, well, quite frankly, her job was awful last year. So thank you for everything you did. And I really also want to thank Bill Blonigan, because he's been a stalwart of the commissions and of the CCX Media, and I continue to grow a deeper sense of respect for him every meeting I go to with him. So thank you for your help with all that. All righty. So anything else?
I do have a few more pages to go over.
Okay, well, let's
Can
go
I hit
then.
those?
Sure.
I'll be quick. The next 2 pages, we talk about city cost sharing and community storytelling. Cost sharing, we know that we're built to serve our cities through cost sharing services and resources. We have our creative services highlighted on this page, and I think it tells the story that our client list is primarily cities, municipalities, schools, nonprofits, and we are willing to work with people on any budget. So our range there went from $150 to over $8,000. So we really try to curtail and customize those packages based on what people are looking for. Community storytelling, this is where we tell our story of Create. We transitioned in the past year back to routine training classes. We counted 166 members who turned in 598 programs using Create resources. And something that is not reflected in this page, but it is something we will track moving forward, is our continued focus on outreach. We go out and we talk to high school students. We have high school students come in here. We have summer camp adventures. We have students involved in Brooklyn Avenues using our facilities. And in this picture, there are scouts from the Northern Star Council earning their movie making merit badge. So we continue to see outreach as a place where we can grow. On the next 2 pages, we dive into advocacy and, of course, our supporters and partners. CCX Media is one of the largest community television stations in the state. We are a leader among our peers and at the state legislature, so we are looking forward to an active legislative session moving forward. Finally, supporters and partners. Your names are on this page if you served in 2025, so that is a big help. We appreciate you. And on the back page are all the places where you can find us. So if you haven't already, like and subscribe. So with that said, I will recommend this for approval.
Okay, any questions? All right, let's go ahead, and I'm looking for a motion to approve the annual report. Okay, we have a motion. Any additional conversation? Hearing none. All in favor of recommending the annual report? Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Great. Next area here, information item, Create Reset Update.
Yes, I wanted to give just a brief update on where we are with the Create Reset. The rollout has been delayed primarily to slower than anticipated integration of our technical systems. And so I have the 5 elements of the Create Reset in your packet and on your screen. And what we're really working on, getting all the bugs out of the system, is that first item, launch new member management software. And the bottom 3 really hinge on getting that software rolled out. We do anticipate it rolling out in the next few months and getting to a place where we're ready to introduce membership fees by mid-year, by July. So we want to be able to accept credit cards. We want to have all of those bugs worked out in our system before we start charging membership fees. And when we can get the membership fees going, that's when we'll start doing time slots and facility reservations, as well as streamlining the program upload process. So it's like dominoes. So we're still waiting on that first domino, or we've already adjusted ours, so that's been done. But we're looking for that second domino to fall before we can make the other three go down. But we are progressing toward that goal.
Great. So we get to the fun part of the meeting where we all get to go on to the rest of the day. I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
I do have one other
Oh, that's
thing
right.
that I would
forgot
like
about
to
that
add.
one. Sorry about that.
We learned, that's okay, we learned yesterday that a former board member and Create volunteer passed away. His name was Charlie Brose. He served for 1 term on this board, and he was a very active Create member. And so I have a brief video that I would like to show you. It's 1 minute. Instead of me telling you about Charlie, I thought you could hear from Charlie himself, and that would be fitting.
On the clap. Take 42. Hey, I'm Charlie Brose, Brooklyn Center, producer here at CCX Create. Been doing it for about 7 years. Finally found some niche programming and been having fun doing that for the last 3 years. Disability landscape, we like to highlight people in the disabled community who are either helping other people with disabilities, have talents that we want to showcase, or just have a fun conversation with people. Let them know that people with disabilities are just like people everywhere else. Homegrown media is still a good thing. Is still vital in their community to get the word out, to teach people certain skills they may not know. Get your local news right from somebody in your own community, and right down to something right down at the end of your street.
And I would just add that Charlie produced Disability Landscape, later called Disability Perspective, but he also helped with 8 other shows in the building. And so that's one of the beauties of Create. If you love working with television and AV, there's plenty of opportunity here. And so we will miss Charlie, and I wanted to recognize him during this meeting.
Anything else I forgot?
We have an executive committee meeting for the commission immediately following this one, right across the hall.
That I didn't forget. You just beat me to the punch.
Good deal.
All right. So we're back to adjournment again. All in do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Daryl. This is non-debatable. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Thank you, Eric. Motion passes.
You can never spend enough time.